Hey everybody, it's Jennifer with Genealogy Technology here, and today I'm going to talk about the super secret probate records that you can find on FamilySearch.org. So, first of all, why am I saying they're a secret? I mean, they're there. So, they're not precisely a secret. However, I consider myself lower mid-level genealogist, definitely an amateur, and I have talked to several genealogists who do this for a living, who are way more experienced than I am, and they do not realize that these records are just sort of hidden in the depths of FamilySearch.org. And so one reason they are so hard to find is that they're non-indexed. And so by indexed, I mean that you can type your ancestor's name in a search box on the website and it will pull something up. It may not be relevant to your ancestor, but it will at least, pull up some kind of entry. Well, these records are not indexed. So that means you are going to have to go to them and then browse the records. A lot of times they have an internal index in the record, something that some clerk of court back in 1855 created, but there's not a way to search them through the website. All right, so first of all, why do we even want to look at probate records? I guess the simplest way to think about probate records is that they are records pertaining to when someone passes away. So the most common probate record we think about is something like a will. Someone has passed, they left behind a will, and that will needs to be executed. So maybe they left some people some money, they left their land to their children or their wife. They want to see their debts paid off, or if someone owes them a debt, they want to make sure that their heirs are paid that debt. They may also have had minor children, and those children need to have a guardian. But yeah, that's basically what a probate record is. And as a genealogist, you can probably already see that would have a lot of interesting information in there for you. Also, just like today, it's important to note that a lot of people just didn't have wills. They just didn't make them. But just because your ancestor did not have a will, there doesn't mean that there are not probate records associated with your ancestor. If they did not have a will, but they still had land or minor children or debts and things like that needed to be taken care of after they died, then there are potentially still probate records associated with your ancestor. Also, just note that only about 25% of heads of household before 1900 had some sort of probate action after their death. So maybe your ancestor, maybe they were young, maybe they didn't own any land and there was just no reason that their estate had to be probated. Also, just as you're searching through these, know that most of the time the probate records you're going to find are going to be for men because men were considered heads of household, but that doesn't mean you won't find your female ancestors too. I've definitely seen a fair few women's estates being probated. We live longer, of course. Something else important to know about probate records is that they are governed at the state level. And so the way they are recorded, sort of the information you're going to find, it changes from state to state, depending on where your ancestor died or where their will was proven. You'll likely find probate records at the local courthouse under a place like probate court, but that's not always what it's called. I mean, it would be nice if all probate records were at probate court, but they may have another name like the Court of Wills or the county clerk's office. Here in Georgia, before the 1850s, probate stuff was handled by the inferior court. Now, if you're lucky enough to live in or near the county that you're researching, a lot of times you can go and physically look at these records at your county courthouse. Or they could be at, the local library or another archive somewhere on microfilm. Once again, it really just depends. You're a genealogist. You're already used to searching for records in weird places. But fortunately, some probate records are also hidden here on FamilySearch, and I'm going to show you how to find those today. But first, I want to quickly sum up what we're about to talk about and things that you may find in probate records. These, of course, include wills, and wills will give you information like relationships, not only wife and children, but also the people that witnessed the will could be associates, maybe they're relatives that you didn't know about. It also shows where the family lives. Things will show their economic status. If they left $1 to all their children, maybe their economic status was not so great. If they left thousands of dollars in big tracts of land and lots of professional tools and things like that, then maybe they were wealthy. You may also find inventories. So these are where someone goes through and tallies the value of all the things that your ancestors owned. It could just be really interesting to know that your ancestor owned, 2 wagons and a bunch of horses and things like that. But it may also show you things about your ancestor's profession. If he owned a lot of, say, wagon making tools, then you may realize, oh, hey, he made wagons for a living. You may also find widow support and guardianships. I've seen widow support every once in a while. That's where the widow of someone who passed is given a year of support. It seems like maybe that was a very early form of Social Security. I don't know a ton about it. If you do find one of your ancestors has widow support, I would definitely recommend researching it. And another thing you might find is guardianships. If your ancestor had minor children, you will find out who has sort of taken custody of them. Now, today, a lot of times when we think about guardianships, we think about, people who are orphans. But a lot of times back in the day, your ancestors would get a guardian even if their mother was still living. So don't assume that, the mother has passed away when the children are given a guardian. And you may also just find kind of other miscellaneous weird stuff in here. That's just the fun of genealogy research, looking in here and seeing what you can find. All right, so let's look at how to actually find these secret probate records in FamilySearch.org. Start by going to FamilySearch.org and log in. From this page, just go up and click search. Don't worry about scrolling down, just click search at the top. Now there are a few ways to get to this information, but I recommend doing it this way. So you're here on the search page. You want probate records. We're talking about the US today. So click on the United States. It'll let you click your state. I'm going to go ahead and find Georgia. And what it's going to do is take you to a page that has a list of a whole bunch of different record types here in Georgia. Now, what we are talking about is image-only historical records. That means that you're not going to find your ancestor's name when you type their name in the search box. Down here, these are things that only have images. Of course, that means it's going to take a little bit more work when it comes to actually searching them. But this video is specifically about probate records. So in order to find probate records, I want you to go back up and click Show All 93 Collections here. Now remember, if you're in a different state than Georgia, it's going to be a different number of collections than 93. Then what I would do is Command F or Control F. I don't know, I was looking for the word lightning earlier, but see, you can find Georgia probate records. All right, so we are going to click that. Once again, remember, if you're in a different state, it might be called something else. It might be called Clerk of Court Records or something like that. All right, we've clicked. And the important thing here is to remember, do not be tempted to type a name in the search box. It's not going to work. What you need to do is scroll down and go to View Images in this collection. And it'll say browse through, millions of images. It's good to know. And from here, you pick your county. I will go ahead and pick Cherokee County. And here is a list of unindexed probate records that you can search. So let's look around and see what we got. Administrator, executor, and guardian bonds. That's really cool. Remember, guardians are people that were assigned to take care of minor children. Estate, so that is probably inventories and things like that. Inventories and appraisements. There's some of those. Grand jury presentments, letters, and school district records. That's pretty interesting. And they go all the way back to 1839. And we also have returns. I'm pretty sure returns are when the executor, so the person whose job it was to make sure all the things in the will actually get done. Pretty sure that's when they actually return back to the courthouse. But that's their I guess the product of their work executing that will. We also have sale bills, wills and bonds, and year support. Oh, okay, remember I was talking about year support of a widow. Let's go ahead and look at, we'll just go and click the first one up here. Administration, executor, and guardian bonds. Because I want to show you a little bit what I mean by this is not indexed, but there might be an internal index. Now, first of all, you're going to have some kind of administrative stuff here at the beginning. This is when the people microfilmed this. It's sort of the administrative stuff that they created. All right, so as we can see, this is book C. It doesn't have an index. Oh gosh, so that is not fun. Because what that means is, I will go ahead and show you. Once again, that's the beginning of the book. This is actually the outside of the book. This is if you went to the courthouse to look at the book, that's what it would look like. Now, in many books, there's going to be an index here at the beginning. This one does not have an index, so that means if you think that your ancestor may be in this book, then you would need to actually browse through the entire book. That is not going to be super fun. On the other hand, this may be the key that you need to figure out a key fact about your ancestor. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so we can see, exactly what this is all about. It looks like Samuel Patterson's temporary administrative bond on James Boyd's estate. All right, so this is where looks like Samuel Patterson went into the courthouse. He posted a bond, it means he paid some money, and then he is going to administer the estate of James Boyd. All right, very cool. Well, now if this is your ancestor, this is going to be some good information for you. Now, this one did not have an index, so let me just go back. Now, the best way to go back is go up here and click Cherokee again. That'll take you back to the other kind of things that are in here. Let's go to one that I'm pretty sure does have an index. Go to Wills and Bonds, 1847 to 1921. Just to kind of show you quickly what you can expect and how you can find your potential ancestor. Now, once again, we need to, go forward a few pages. We can make this little too. Get that out of the way. And we can also zoom out, zoom in, make it a little easier. And see, it does say that it has an index. I'm sorry, I didn't stay there, but it did say that it has an index. So again, here's the outside of the book. All right, and here is the index. This is a very neat one too. Some of these are not quite so neat. See, we can zoom in again. And so what this means as Matilda Alfred, guardian bond, you can find that on page 26. Adams, you can find on page 229. So it's my understanding that the clerk who was in charge of these records, as they entered new information in these books, they added people to the index. That's why these are in numerical order. And see, we scroll over here. Here are the B's. And from here, why don't we go ahead here? There's Edmund Bagley, administrator, on page 6. So then why don't we just go ahead and try to go over to page 6. Now, a good way to do this is go up to the image number up here at the top and just sort of try to figure out, okay, this is the index. Page 6, I don't know, maybe around page 20. So the 20 here is the image number, but these pages are also numbered. Okay, so that didn't work. We only got to like the Y's. All right, let's go to image number 25. Let's see what page number in the actual document image number 25 will be. Okay, that says 430. Oh, okay, no, it looks like we are still in the index. My bad. Let's try 35. There's Mary Scott's last will and testament. I told you that there are women in here. That's page 18. All right, well, that's too far. Let's go to image number 28. Anyway, basically, we are kind of using the process of elimination to get us to page 6. All right, here we go. Page 6. We go down and we found it. Edmund Bagby and John Bagby administrator bond. So probably what this means, just from looking at this, is that John R. Bagby passed away and Edmund Bagby is his administrator. He's executing the will, making sure everything gets done. So there you go. And from there, you can read all about your ancestor. Another couple things that you can do right here, say this is something you want to look at later. Well, FamilySearch allows you to stick things in your source box, so you could just click that there. And if you have a family tree up on FamilySearch, then you can attach this to your family tree, to someone in your family tree. So that is all pretty cool. You can also download it. Let's see what tools are. Oh yeah, adjust it. So if the image seemed kind of light or something like that, you could invert it and try to try to read it a little bit more clearly. And really, that's it. I mean, after all that buildup, that is what you can find. Now, I do recommend looking in all the counties where your ancestors lived. If you're not sure where your ancestor passed away, you might want to check the counties where his or her children lived, because sometimes, they, in their old age, they went to live with their children, and then maybe their will ends up being probated in that county. So, I don't know. There are just a lot of little pro tips and tricks that you can do to try to find this information. And actually, yeah, let me go ahead and just give you sort of my tips for searching probate records on FamilySearch or just in general. First off, FamilySearch is by no means comprehensive. I mean, they do a great job and they have microfilmed a whole lot of records. But for example, I went to the Forsyth County, Georgia courthouse a while back and I was looking for a will for our probate record for my fourth great grandfather and happened to notice a little sort of shoebox sized box in the room with all the probate records. Well, it turns out my ancestor's estate was in there. And I know for a fact, because I've searched for it on FamilySearch, that that information is not here. So it's definitely still worth it to pay a visit to the courthouse because there may be loose records laying around. Just because you don't find it on FamilySearch does not mean it doesn't exist. The next thing that it took me sort of a minute to cotton on to was that a single microfilm roll may cover more than one book. So when you are searching these books on FamilySearch, just make sure to kind of take note. Does it say that it's book A, B, and C? Well, if it does, then that means that you need to make sure that you're looking at the indexes for books A, B, and C, not just looking at book A and thinking that the information you want is not in there. And finally, make sure that you don't find one record for your ancestor and then stop searching. Probate records could be pretty varied and vast. So there could be a will and then an inventory and then a guardian bond and then some more information. So don't stop searching after you found your ancestor just one time. There could be all kinds of probate records associated with your ancestor. All right, well, I hope that has helped you search all those secret hidden probate records on FamilySearch.org. If you like more videos like this, please subscribe below or visit my website, genealogytechnology.com. Thanks so much.